Hi, this is Dolly with Good Life Gardenscapes, Gulf Coast region, Texas. Just these are tomatoes that I just put in. Yeah, they've been in the pot, so they've been pot bound really. Uh, and look how big they were. And the size of pot that they came out of, this big one here came out of been in a pot this big for a very long time, but look how huge they got. And I didn't put any food, it's just compost. So the power of compost, even when the pot is that tiny, it will still feed it, and it'll get big. You just got to keep them watered. And one thing I wanted to discuss is soil. I'm going to put this in there, but I'm going to mix it with green stay. Or Stay Green or something. This one from Lowe's. This and that is going to be mixed in that bed over there. Look at the difference. This is basically fertilized, some kind of, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's totally ground wood or not. And this is sand and wood. So I need the weight. When you put in beds, I noticed all these beds, they look beautiful. First year putting in a new garden bed and it looks nice and fluffy. The problem is if you don't have, and they're covering up the bottom. So in a new bed, I always suggest put dirt at the bottom, real soil, not this fluffy stuff. This mixed with that, or you can layer this, wood, other things underneath it, then put a couple of bags of this, alternate with that. Try to find some good compost and you layer it with the compost, and then you top it off with something that's going to keep it moist underneath, and that would probably be more of this. Not this. This is the heavy stuff. This is what the roots grab onto, while this top stuff plus your compost feeds it. So a lot of these beds, they don't ever show you the end result after the season when they prepare their new beds. But I know what the end result is. I've been gardening 30 years. The end result is the fruits are, people assume that this stuff, because they don't add enough fertilizer to feed it throughout the season, and they also recommend it. But since I do everything with compost, I don't struggle with feeding the plants. But I do struggle with the beds, the bed sizes, simply because, the size of the plants or the production, because it's a new bed. You get a good season after your first year. Your first year, the result, unless you're putting a lot of hand fertilizer, box fertilizer, bag fertilizer, you get results, but the nutrition is not in the plants because it lacks other things that are in natural soil that you don't get. A lot of people want, even the manure that's composted is what I use. It works really well for your plants simply because it's got parts of the horse in there. When it's digesting that food, there's enzymes, there's all kinds of other things involved with that. So it's helping break down the compost even further. It breaks down everything in the bed, and your plants get fed evenly, and they get a really good dose of all kinds of minerals, enzymes, all kinds of stuff that they need to grow healthy food for you. Yes, there is a difference. I read a book about it, and so years ago. So I've always kept this in mind, that I always will use a composted manure, even if it's just chicken. Yeah, that's a lot of nitrogen, they say, in the chicken, but the soil will balance itself out. If you're creating a soil, if you're creating a growing area. So always remember that. But this is the two I'm going to top dress those plants with. Plus I'm going to put probably one of these, a half bag of composted horse manure. And I'm going to show you the manure, the composted manure. This is it. It's almost silky. You could see how broke down it is. When you touch it, it's almost silky. This has been composted. This is its second year of being in these bags, getting wet, getting the weather in it. And so this stuff is ready to feed the plants. The worms will get in there and break it down even further. The roots will start working on it. And so this is primarily what will feed them. The other one is not ready to feed, but it'll eventually start breaking down. And they put so minute ingredients as far as fertilizing the materials. It's not enough to, they say 3 months, but it's not enough because I know it doesn't damage my worm or my bug environment and the soil. So yeah, I mean, you don't have to be a scientist to know that really anything you put in there, fruit scraps, whatever the case may be, the bugs are breaking it down and your plants can use it as food. And like I said, composted manures are really good simply because there's so many components in it that your plants can use to grow and to feed you healthily. That's the goal of a garden is to be healthy. And when you're using bottled and bagged fertilizer, that is not enough for you to be healthy. You need other things breaking down in your soil, and you don't want your plants to be lazy because the minute you hold off on all that extra food you're feeding it flops over. And that's what you don't want. So consistent feeding comes from nature itself, not from all that stuff in a bag and a bottle. And everybody references that. Even when I'm growing, all my starts are grown in compost. I don't even feed them. You see how big the tomato plants got. So that's proof that compost will sustain a seed and grow it to full size. And this is Dolly. Thank you for your time. Good Life Gardenscapes.